So my topic is cultural conflict in the home and the world. This is my personal information. Points to ponder about the author, about the novel, theory of cultural conflict in the home and the world, cultural conflict in Bollywood movies, cultural conflict in literary text, and conclusion, work citation. About the author was a poet, novelist, and painter. He was also cultural reformer. Born into wealthy landowning family, Tagore began his formal education at the age of 9. He was taught Sanskrit, Palestine, English, and Western philosophy. Tagore remained a more conservative Hindu while Sen drifted toward Christianity. This philosophical break between the two men eventually result in a schism within Brahmo Samaj in 1866. He was founder. He was he was also a member of a Brahmo Samaj. His later religious poetry was introduced to the West in Gitanjali. About the novel, The Home and the World is a 1960 novel by Rabindranath Tagore, in which it is deals with political culture and there is a three major character, Nikhilesh, Bimla and Sandeep. Bimla falls to prey to the charms of Sandeep, a revolutionary proponent of the Swadeshi movement. Sandeep is Sandeep moves in with Nikhil and Bimla, even though he disagrees with the more moderate, albeit progressive views of Nikhil. Bimla comes to recognize Sandeep's manipulative ways and seeks to break from his influence and reconcile with her husband. Or we can say that Bimla became manipulation tool for Sandeep. Theory of cultural conflict. There I have taken the reference of Selin, in which Selin book, uh, cultural conflict and crime, in which he is clarified the cultural conflict theory. According to him, the root cause of the crime is based upon various values and beliefs. For what is acceptable behavior, the clash of these two values and beliefs result in a crime. Furthermore, since crime constitutes a violation of law, the criminal act is simply a clash over what is the acceptable behavior. In short, this is a cultural. This work is about the cultural clash, cultural conflict in the home and the world. In the culture, in the home and the world, there is cultural conflict between traditional and modern, where we can say that Sandeep is a traditional one and Nikhil is a modern one. The significant scene of threshold scene, it is present the modernity of Nikhil, and the Swadeshi movement, it represents that Sandeep is a traditional one. In the novel, Tagore has shown East-West counter through Bimla's indecisiveness, who is torn between the two cultures, the traditional Indian culture and the Western culture or the modern culture. The two contradictory nature of Bimla are apparent in the novel. Accordingly, Bimla's trait as the typical Indian housewife is revealed through her calm and composed nature at the initial stage. Here a dialogue of Bimla that present traditional Bengali woman. I distinctly remember after my marriage when in the early morning I would courteously and silently get up and take the dust of my husband's feet. This sign is represent the traditional Bengali woman without waking him, how at such moments I could feel the vermilion. Vermilion also represents the traditionality in Bimla, marked upon my forehead shining out like the morning star. Mulkraj Anand has rightly said that uh, pa- penetrated the delicate sensibility of an Indian woman by daring to evoke the viscerous impulse of Bimla in the home and the world. Cultural conflict in Bollywood movies. In the several movies, there are cultural conflict. Here, I take two states as a cultural conflict or cultural clash. There is a two cross culture. There are two. Both of them Indian cultures are there. So we can say Indian culture versus Indian culture. There are cross-culture marriage. The author skillfully portrays the real picture of contemporary Indian society, drawing on some typical middle-class sensibility of the present day. Multicultural conflicts between two different civilizations and difficulties of modern generation faced with modern generation. In the novel Two States, there is protagonist Krish and Ananya, where the Krish is belongs to Punjabi family and Ananya is belong to South Indian family. There is one dialogue in the movie that the parents of Krish said that South Indians doesn't know how to control their own daughters, and they are also referring the Sri Devi and Hema Malini as they were South Indian. In the novel Two States, Chetan Bhagan represents the realistic pictures and cultural difference of contemporary Indian society by portraying specially the middle class sensitivity in the present time. The cultural contest between two different civilizations and disagreement of a modern generation, while follows all tradition, ritual, and social setup with the perspective of modern sensibility. Cultural conflict in a literary text. There is one literary text namesake. In the namesake, there is also cultural conflict because the protagonist named Gogol, the name was Russian, but his native land is India, and he was living in America. The story begins with the Indian Bengali couple Ashok and Ashima who were shifted in America. The characters in the novel suffer from cultural clash as well as identity crisis. All these characters are neither fully Indian nor fully American. Instead, they exist somewhere in between these two worlds. Even when we observe the name, here first I said even when we observe the name of the protagonist Gogol, I said it is a Russian name. He is from India, migrate America, so there is cultural conflict between identity. It raises question of identity. The central protagonist, the Gogol, acts as a link between two widely cultures. Conclusion. To sum up, it can be said that cultural conflict is very complex process in which they not only fully integrate into a new country but also lose aspect perhaps their entire heritage. Their assimilation takes place on a socioeconomical status, second language and entertainment and intermarriage. They keep on assimilating new customs and lifestyle from the host culture and in the process lose vital aspect of their own culture. Work citation.